Hi, Don. Welcome back to Bourbon Street.
Thanks, Mark. Good to be back.
Were you lost? Do you need a map? Do you need GPS? Do you need me to show you on my hand? You can walk down here. Here's Bourbon Street.
A lot of shit going on, but all good. Happy to be back.
Well, it's good to see you. Good to see you. So we've got a lot to talk about today. It's great to have the OG back in the house. Going to start with some, sad news from the fashion world, where, one of the shining lights, one of the very few Black fashion designers in the world, passed away this last week. So let's have a quick look at this tribute.
I've been on this focus in terms of my art and creativity of getting adults to behave like children again, that they go back into this sense of wonderment. They start to stop using their mind and they start using their imagination. But I think I was given this opportunity to open doors. That's why my job simply isn't just to design clothes. It's to lead by example, to open doors and make sure those doors are open. If I'm going to be the first, it's the younger generation that's going to carry the torch. My only real career goal is that, I'm one of like 2 Black fashion designers in Paris. Within 2-3 years, I hope that there's, triple that amount. And advocating for young designers, building inroads is what it's about. So to answer your question, of course it's difficult, but I didn't do this work for a vacation. You don't see me posting pictures on the beach in Bahamas talking about life is stressful. It's like we're here at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday making sure we're doing the work.
I knew very little about Virgil Abloh until he died this week, and then I'm sure, like you, my social feeds were blown up about it. But do you know that in 2009, he and Kanye were interns at a fashion house called Fendi, where they were fetching cappuccinos and doing photocopies for people?
I did not know that, but it was striking that one of 2 Black designers in Paris is pretty, and he hopes to triple it to 6. Anyway, obviously it had a big impact. You can tell by me, fashion's not my number one forte. But 41, I think he was. Way too young.
Horrible. Okay, so let's jump into your forte, and we're going to do a weekly pulse. And last week, Vanessa was here. She tormented me with a quiz. I've been promised by my team there's no quiz for MH3 in this weekly pulse. True or false?
That would be false.
Oh, shit.
You're going to do very well in this because I know how dear and near these topics are.
Okay.
We're talking about sports betting in Canada, and we're going to go through what's happening with sports betting, how big it is. It's not legalized yet. Obviously, ProLine's there with ProLine Plus and the Score of Bet and everything else. But how big is that going on right now? So if we go to the next page, please. We are going to get to the next page. Promise you. No, that's 2 pages. Anyway, so if you look back, 2018, I'm going to just do a reflect back. So we're talking about sports betting becoming legal in 2022. Let's look back to cannabis for a second. The first question on the next page is, why was Bill C-45 passed? Why did they legalize cannabis? Next page, was it for the health and wellness of Canadians, to increase access for people with anxiety, or to ensure the government grabbed as much tax as possible?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I think it was C.
You are correct. So the next question, though, is, could you go one more page, please? Number of Canadians 18 plus consuming cannabis prior to legalization: 0, 2.4 million, 4.4 million, or 6.4 million. They were smoking or consuming all the time prior to legalization.
Prior to legalization. You know, what's weird about this is I feel like you had these numbers in a past weekly pulse. and I screwed it up then as well. So let's just go to 4.4.
And you're bang on again. So there's 4.4 million people, and everyone thought it was going to be an explosion. Like, weed was out there. Anyone who wanted to smoke a joint could smoke a joint, and I did talk about it before. The same thing, I'm not sure if the same thing is present with gambling. So if we go to the next page, we have what happened to cannabis 3 years later. How many people do you think now consume?
Well, given your commentary, I'm just going to go to A.
The fact is, it's 9.8 million.
Wow. It went from 4.4 to 9.8?
Yeah, it's over double the consumption. So you go back to the question, was the bill passed for the health and wellness of Canadians, to reduce anxiety, or to grab taxes? And the fact is, the black market is as big or better than ever, way cheaper. So you think about that. So let's look how many people gamble right now. And if we use the same sort of acceleration, what may happen in the marketplace. So C218 passed in August. It's going to become legal in Ontario. Will be the first market where you can do it. Let's keep going on to the next page. How many people do you think currently buy lottery tickets yearly, which is a form of gambling or a form of chance?
Oh boy, and I'm going to get this wrong, and Ontario Lotteries is one of my biggest clients, so I'm just going to look like an absolute egg on the face, spatula-wearing fool right now. And so I'm going to, when in doubt, go for the middle.
So 17 million people right now, if you look at the next page, 17 million people of the 28 million people that are 18 plus play the lottery yearly. Next page, please. How many people play it weekly? Every week.
Every week, 4 million.
Next page, please. 8 million. There's
Wow.
8 million people that gamble. So you think sports is bigger than lottery? And people like sports like 19 sports. So let's go to the next page and show you what's going on with sports betting right now. Number of Canadians betting on sports in the past 12 months. 2 million, 5 million, or 10 million.
It's interesting you have the 0 people up there as opposed to 0 million, but I'm just going to point that out because, I'm the creative guy. Let's go with 5 million.
There are currently 10 million people with over 8 million betting with friends. So sports betting is massive.
Yeah.
Betting is massive. Lottery is massive. So, but sports you can bet with your friend. I can make a $5 bet with you right now. There's no tax. But what happens with?
But would you win that bet?
Probably not. If we go to the next page, we'll look at how big a legal online sportsbook is today. How many people are currently betting online? And you got to do VPN from the US or offshore to do it. You have to do a lot of work to do this. You can't use credit cards. So there's a lot of work to be done right now to do illegal online sports betting. But
5 million.
How many people today? What do you think of that? Go to the next page, please. 5 million? It is 5 million, estimated to grow over 10 million people. So it's the size of the cannabis market. But the fact is, this legalization, we're going to have 10 million people gambling. Will that help our country? The fact is, there's only so much money in the country, and the fact is, we will actually legalize and make it easier, which is good because people should have it if they want to do it. People should do whatever they want to do. But if you look at the things, is why do they do it? So let's go to the next page.
But 2 thoughts on that real quick. Okay, you're going to get into it, so I'll wait. You go ahead.
So is the legalization of online sportsbook done for the mental health of Canadians, the financial benefit of Canadians, or to ensure the government takes as much tax as possible? Because there's 5 million people actively betting right now.
Well, I'm going to go with C, but you've left a couple things off the equation here. One is those 5 million people that are betting right now. That money is not going into the Canadian economy. It's going out of the Canadian economy. Right?
Correct.
Not just the tax. It's going to entrepreneurs that, even if they are Canadian, are operating their businesses outside of it. So the first thing I think is great is we're repatriating that money. Secondly, there are no systems. There are no checks and balances. There are no controls. There's no messaging about safe gambling. There's no limits on what could happen. So yes, it's going to grow. And I'm not saying here that unequivocally that we should just have willy-nilly sports betting, but there are no safeguards. The money's going outside, and hopefully this money will be reinvested in amateur sport, as Ontario Lotteries does. And the last thing I'll say, and I'm curious, I know I'm flipping this around, I'm curious your thought, but I've had lots of conversations with partners that are not in the sports betting space, but sports betting's adding hype and excitement to the sports business. I'm interested in your thoughts of, this is a non-sports betting brand. how do they play this? Like, is it simply an adjacency role? Is it simply, well, it's good for all sponsors? You think back in the, you read a promotion, win VIP tickets, win a trip to this, win a t-shirt. Should non-sports betting brands start offering up sports betting related prizes or activations? I don't know. I'm making stuff up.
Well, first off, I'm totally for the sports book having I don't know what's going on.
A little ingestion there at 11:41 in the morning, or are you talking about your tech?
Oh my God. Yeah, I had a book when I was 15. Okay. I'm totally into legalized or illegal sports betting. It's my choice to do what I want with money, so I'm not chastising it. I just obviously don't love the government that much. And the point is repatriating the legalization and the hype. Like if you look at the UK, who have been betting forever, I mean, their hype on sports is massive due to the ability to play every second. Like they can make all the prop bets, everything like that. So it's going to be fantastic for the energy of people actually watching. It's going to be great for sport because you get more people engaged in sport. It should be great for sponsors of sport. Like anything, should non-sports betting brands get involved? Should they offer stuff up? But you can only offer certain that you can't entice people to gamble unless they go on the site. But the fact is, it's like anything. If it's not authentic to your brand, if it's not a consistent strategy, stay away from it. But yes, I'd use sports as a promotional offer, right? Not the betting part of it. But the fact is, I think it's going to be great for Canadians to do what they want because they do it anyway. It's going to grow significantly. It's going to have greater participation, probably greater viewership. It's going to be good for all the properties. It's going to build up other properties such as probably curling and the CFL, which would never be thought of, but they're massive, massive sports in Canada. And it's going to be probably good for the CFL, like really good for the CFL. And something like curling, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, they'll bet on anything. Like gamblers will bet. So anyway, just wanted to do an update on where it sits. 5 million people currently bet offshore. 4.4 million were smoking dope before it became legal. People don't wait for legalizations. We don't need government intervention. But the fact is, this will actually help so we can actually do it in an easier, safer, more legitimate way.
But to your point, what we are seeing is when cannabis was legalized, that the market doubled effectively, and you're going to see the same for sports betting. So great points. And speaking of the CFL, I don't know if you're headed down, but I got to tell you, I'm personally really excited. Thank you, League Office, for the invite to go to the Grey Cup in Hamilton. It's December 12th, which I think is the latest Grey Cup date in history. So, I don't think you're going to have anything more Canadian than Grey Cup, snow, Tim Hortons field. Hopefully there'll be Tim Hortons in the stands to keep us warm. I don't know
Justin Bieber will be in the stands doing his
I don't know if I need any of the Tim Biebs. I got to tell you, I'm much happier that it's the Arkells playing halftime than Bieber. Oh, I love Bieber. It's just I don't really need to see him pretending that he actually made up Tim Biebs. Rest in peace. Anyway, don't get me started. But are you going? You going to the Grey Cup?
It's 50-50. I have a ticket. I may or may not go due to some other factors. Anyway, 50.
All right. Well, hopefully those other factors will resolve themselves. I don't want to be publicly humiliated here to find out why you're not going to be my wingman in Hamilton. We might have to change the name of this show. But let's move on to sponsorship X on Bourbon Street. And while this on the surface might not appear like a sponsorship story, I want to kick it off with what the WTA is doing, which the IOC isn't doing, the NBA isn't doing, F1's not doing, standing up to China.
The Women's Tennis Association has suspended all tournaments in China and Hong Kong because of continued fears over the safety and freedom of Peng Shuai. Peng has not spoken in public for a month since she accused former Chinese Vice Premier Zhang Gaoli of sexually assaulting her 3 years ago. Her social media post was quickly deleted, and Peng was not seen in public for more than 2 weeks. Since then, Chinese state media have released footage of her, which they say shows her fit and well, and that she's retracted her allegation of sexual assault. Peng also took part in a video call with the president of the International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, but it was widely dismissed as a publicity stunt, and the IOC were accused of attempting to appease China, who are due to stage the Winter Olympics in February. The WTA have repeatedly asked for assurances about Peng's well-being, but they have still not been able to speak to her, and now they have delivered on their threat to pull tennis out of China.
So what are your thoughts on this?
It was interesting. Billie Jean King's tweet out has obviously done a tremendous amount for equalization of genders for payment in tennis, and she said it just shows again WTA is so proud of it and a leader in women's sports. As you said off the bat, I don't think it's a leader in women's sports. I think it's just a leader in sports. But you look at what's going on there. You look at where the next Olympics are. You look at where the next World Cup is. It's just if you want greed and corruption, I don't think you have to much look very far.
No, you don't. So next up to chat about is tell me about Roblox. Like, I see now the NFL's opened up a store and we've got this phenomenon. So explain to me what's going on here.
It's a good question. Obviously, if you look at it, I think there's 165 million daily weekly users. Half of the people in the U.S. under 16 use this weekly. And the NFL, kudos to them. I mean, if you can engage that younger generation, and we're talking the real young generation on their terms, not telling not the parents saying, come watch the game, but actually on their terms, to get their avatars dressed up and who they want to be and that identity at the age of 8, 10, 15, you got them forever. So kudos for the property to take the time to engage. Obviously, there's going to be money involved in it as well, but if they didn't make a cent off it, it's investing in the future. Again, this is what the CFL needs to do.
So you made a crack about your fashion a minute ago. Do you have a digital closet?
I don't have a digital closet. I'm not sure I have a fashion closet at all, but the fact is, no, I don't have a digital closet. I don't plan on getting one later.
I hear you. Okay, but what we're seeing now is the metaverse and all its constructs are continuing on. Sony with its Hawkeye product has just announced a new Man City announcement where they're going to be building a digital stadium. So if you don't have a digital closet, what are your thoughts on digital stadiums?
I looked at it. I can't remember the name of the company that they bought that's doing this, but they've been around since
Hawkeye.
Yeah, Hawkeye, 2004, I think it is. So they've been around a long time. Obviously, it's great for Sony. My only comment always is they should probably. Sony used to be the number one brand in the world from a brand love perspective. They're the same place Apple is today. They might worry a little bit more about being awesome in store and online to build the brand up. But again, great. I think it's a much better thing for the properties to do it, to get them engaged. But who knows? I'm not 16. You got to do different things. You got to keep trying. You got to keep going out there. It'll be a niche thing, but it'll be probably pretty big for them. Yeah,
it'll be interesting. So, one of the big advances recently has been NIL. Sorry, somebody's having a fight with the garbage right out behind me here. So I don't know if you've seen Yukon star Paige Bucher sign with Gatorade, but let's have a quick look at this.
I won National Gatorade Player of the Year in high school, and that's when our relationship kind of started. And now to be an actual Gatorade athlete, it's surreal to me. It's amazing to me. It's such a blessing, and I can't wait to get started.
So name, image, and likeness, you're seeing this is the first university athlete signed by Gatorade.
And they figure they'll make $1 million a year. It's fantastic. I mean, the fact is you're 20 years old and you're in charge of your own body and image. Of course you should be. So the point is, again, if you look at all these things, it makes sense. You look back and go, really? They couldn't do that before? I mean, the university got all the money. So kudos. And obviously a great play by Gatorade. They could have made the G bigger on the jacket. You couldn't really
G money, but to your point. So she's also signed a deal with StockX. So while she's on court with UConn, she's got to wear Nikes, but she can wear anything to promote StockX. She's also gone and trademarked her nickname, which is Paige Buckets.
She trademarked it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, there's gonna be a lot of money going to. It's interesting because again, it's a zero-sum game on money to spend, and the fact is, if the pro athletes, they're gonna now have a choice, because people underestimate the huge strength of college sports in the U.S. The U.S. doesn't, but I don't think we have a clue or lots of people don't know how big college football is or how big college basketball is. And the point is, it's going to take a lot of money out of the pro ranks when they can actually get to people at 20 years of age.
Absolutely.
that appeal to 20-year-olds. They might have to share the wealth a bit more, and it's going to be interesting. The right thing to do.
Speaking of college football, my USC Trojans just signed a 38-year-old coach to a $110 million contract, gave him a $6 million house. So hopefully he'll pay off. But you know what? Sometimes money and ethics and responsibility clash. And you were referring briefly to Qatar 2022. Let's see the battle that happened at the Bayern Munich AGM this week between the board and the members of the club over their Qatar Airlines sponsorship.
Auch noch einen Spontanantrag stellen und der ist ja eigentlich im Top-Anträge zu behandeln, weil Sie müssen mir ja sagen, ob Sie den Antrag...
Ja, das sage ich Ihnen doch anschließend.
Dass Sponsoringverträge mit Qatar Airways oder anderen mehrheitlich im Eigentum des Emirats Katar stehenden Unternehmen zum nächstmöglichen Zeitpunkt auslaufen gelassen werden und nicht verlängert oder neu abgeschlossen werden.
Okay.
Kurze Anmerkung dazu noch.
Dann ist das einfach ich werde das nachher erläutern und ich glaube, dass ich Ihnen auch überzeugend darstellen kann. Ja, Sie können natürlich buhen, aber wissen Sie, das ist keine argumentative Auseinandersetzung. Wir werden uns
Ja, genau. Ich würde mich gerne auch argumentativ damit auseinandersetzen.
Wir machen das ja. Aber das ist jetzt nicht...
So ist das halt. Menschenrechte haben wir im Knast abgelegt.
Sie werden mir als Versammlungsleiter zugestehen, dass ich die Wortmeldungsliste schließen kann. Und damit beschließe ich die Jahreshauptversammlung.
I find this amazing to see the members of the club at such odds. That sleeve patch earns $22.5 million a year US for Bayern Munich. What are your thoughts?
And they're worth a lot of money. And I think the first thing you can capture from that is we think Canada's a hockey country, and you think the US is a football country. The passion at that AGM, just the passion of the people, is so off the charts positive. To love and be so passionate about something is extraordinary. It's fantastic. Yeah. And the fact is, it's in their 5th year of the deal. I think it runs out in 2023, but it's good. The power of the people. The fact is, make people accountable, and that's what the WTA is trying to do. But again, there's been stories about I can't remember how many workers have died building stadiums. It's like 700 or 800 people.
It's criminal, absolutely criminal.
So you look at it, but the fact is, everyone needs to continue to push. We need to push. Because you have voices now. You have multiple different ways, but again, the passion at that AGM is unmatched.
And to your point, 10 years ago, we never would have seen that footage. So, you know what? I'm just going to jump right into last call. We're going to skip kind of our opening video. And I want to get your thoughts on, where we stand right now in terms of tackling COVID. We've got this new virus, Omicron. Here you are talking about you've got a 50th celebration for your company next week or the week after that you're thinking about maybe canceling. We know that not only has COVID been dramatically impactful, but last year in 4 months, 4,000 people died in Canada due to delayed healthcare services. In addition to that, I think the number is actually something like 19,000. So if 26,000 Canadians have died of COVID since March of 2020, 19,000 Canadians have died due to complications due to delayed healthcare. Tell me, what should our government's been doing? How should we tackle Omicron? What's your point of view?
I started taking some snapshots a month ago of people in ICU and hospitals. So the first fallacy is that the vaccine was supposed to eliminate COVID. No, it's supposed to make you immune to go to the hospital and die. If you look at what's going on in Ontario, 1,000 cases, right? Sounds like a huge number, but 40,000 tests, we have a 2.5% positivity rate. We used to be like at 9 or 10%. So that's pretty good news. People that are ICU, Out of the last 27,000 cases, that's in the last 6 weeks, there's an incremental 30 people in ICU on ventilators. It's less than 1 in 1,000 that get the disease end up. So the vaccines are working. The government's going to react to whatever has to happen. We have no idea where it's going. But if you look at South Africa's death rate, where the virus supposedly came from, their death rate's actually down. Their cases are up magnificently, but the number of deaths are actually going in the wrong direction. So it's up in the air. I mean, the fact is, people don't think it's going to be over now till August. 50% think it's going to be last a year or longer or forever. So I got a lot of thoughts, and I'm confident the government is not going to handle it well, because
Agreed.
They don't learn from the past. But let's hope they do.
We are at a place, Don, where, let's face it, we are going to live with COVID for the rest of our lives.
Yes.
The more mutations, the viruses mutate, they're always less lethal. They're more transmissible, they're less lethal.
Right.
We got to move the fuck on, right? The fact that we've got businesses, U.S. came out with new travel restrictions, the poor travel industry is getting hit again. I mean, at some point, mask up, vaccine up, booster up, get the rest of the world vaccinated. But man, uncertainty is the quickest way for us all to die.
Yeah, and as you talk about that, I mean, you look at the opiate deaths. I mean, they're up 300%.
Right, because of mental health and anxiety, because people are unsure if they can pay their bills.
That's 7,000 people a year. Like, if you add that all up, I agree. We're going to be living with this. The point is, we're supposed to be vaccinated, which Ontario, kudos to Ontario for actually getting out there and getting the jabs.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to stress our healthcare system so that we can continue to live with it. We don't count how many colds we have in the world.
No.
Or stomach ailments or headaches. And the point is, eventually it's just going to be, we're not going to hear that anymore. So I'm optimistic that we've got such high vaccination rates. It's working still. I'm not a doctor. I don't know about this new variant. South Africa looks like lots of cases, not many deaths. That's a leading indicator that that's not that bad, because I don't think that they're not even close to our vaccination rate. So I'm optimistic that someone has learned something in the past 19 months on how to not screw up a country. And we can't take it anymore. The mental health of this country, we cannot take it anymore.
Well, listen, I appreciate your optimism. It's great having you here today. The only thing I'm optimistic about is that I won't get a stomach ache, a headache, and an other ache all in one day. So please come back to Bourbon Street. Good seeing you. And to close out, we're going to share a really fun video from two of Canada's favorite Canadians, Ryan Reynolds receiving his Governor General Award, being serenaded by Stephen Page. Have a great weekend.
Bye all.
They said Bryan Adams was busy, and Nickelback all had to work. They meant to call Drake, but called me by mistake, so you're stuck with a song by this jerk. They asked me to write you a number to show you just how we all feel. We know you're a fan of the land we call Canada, but here's what I've got to reveal: that Canada loves you back. Canada loves you back. Canada loves you back. Canada loves you back. Wherever you go, we want you to know that Bryan, Canada loves you back. A genuine Canadian icon, like Shatner or Alex Trebek. You're almost as juicy as Bruno Gerussi, and much better known in Quebec. Oh, of all the Canadian Ryans, you've gotta be in our top three. We'll drink American gin when your team in Wales wins, and tell everyone you're from BC, 'cause Canada's got your back. Canada's got your back. When things aren't so good in old Hollywood, remember Canada's got your back. You're Canada's own superhero, and not simply when you're on screen. You shine a spotlight on the people who might not otherwise get to be seen. Oh, of course we would love to take credit That's not what Canadians do. Our nation's foundation of self-deprecation seems like it is rubbed off on you. And Canada loves you back. Canada loves you back. Wherever you go, we want you to know that Brian Canada loves you back. How about something anthemic? Or something sweet out of sing? He helped us all through the pandemic. So what you waiting for? Let those church bells ring. We love you
We live in troubled times, and if there was ever a time that we need to work together, to acknowledge each other and be closer to one another so that we can help each other, support each other, lift each other up, this is the time. And so we are grateful once again that through the generosity of Canadians like Ryan, we are able to do this work that brings people together.
Oh. Wow. Wow. That's that was stunning. I mean, that made me cry. Well, I guess I've made it. That was pretty crazy.